As most of you will know, we just entered the Advent season yesterday on Sunday, December the 3rd, and this is a time of anticipation leading up to Christmas. It's part of actually something bigger called the church year, the church calendar. Actually, with Advent, it's the beginning of a new year for the church. Obviously, the new year, at least in the Western world, is celebrated with January 1st, but the church historically has remembered the new year starting with Advent, which is kind of sets in motion usually a 4-week period, 4 Sundays leading up to Christmas Day. Over the last 50 to 70 years in general, the church, at least in the West and more evangelical modern church, has moved away from traditions, kind of seeing them as a bit stale and a bit outdated, a bit rote and too much, feeling dead rituals. And definitely that definitely can happen. Jesus warned of that with the Pharisees in the Gospels. So that can happen, but I think there's been this kind of emerging and resurgence back to appreciate more historical aspects and traditional aspects of the church, and not just with Advent, but in the wider church calendar. And I like how someone like impactful author for me is Jamie Smith, or James K.A. Smith, and in his book Desiring the Kingdom, and he's really got a series working through with a few books, but talking about how where liturgy it's important, and liturgy is in really traditions of the church, or just rhythms. I like to use the word rhythms working with creative artists. The word liturgy and tradition may be kind of outdated. So I talk about story and I talk about rhythms. These are things we put in place that help form who we are as people. We have cultural liturgies. If you want to look at holidays and how they cycle around each year with different holidays and different traditions. We have them in families. We might visit certain places for vacation every year and do certain things at certain points of the year as families. So these are not terrible things. They can become terrible, but they don't have to be things that are rhythmic. Liturgies are really rhythmic cycles that help form who we are, and that's what the church calendar is all about. And we're just starting the new year with Advent. I'll just flash this image up, which comes from the Third Church website, and you can kind of see this circular pattern. And we're starting over here on the left with Advent, moving through Christmas. Epiphany is actually not just on January the 6th, which is actually when the Eastern Church will celebrate Christmas, is Epiphany. But there's a season of Epiphany, there's Lent, Easter, Pentecost, and then what we call ordinary time for the other half of the year. Ends out with what is called Christ the King Sunday. And we just entered this time, and it's a beautiful time, Advent, and it's something that people have. You have at wreaths of lighting the candles, and Advent devotionals, and different things set in place to help focus us. But also, Advent is not just remembering the first coming or the first Advent. Literally, Advent means coming. But not just remembering the first coming, but also the anticipation of the final coming of Christ. As we look forward and we know that things are still not right, we know that the King of Israel still needs to become a reality on earth as it is in heaven. And he's not just the King of Israel anymore, he's the King of all the cosmos and everything. And we look forward to Jesus. And so I just really put on our radar this entering of Advent, and to really take maybe a moment to think about just the wider aspect of the church calendar, the church year, and just things that have been set, rhythms that have been set in place historically to help form us, the beauty of it and the storytelling of it, and things, the tangible things that we can taste and we can touch and we can smell, we can hear, we can see. that remind us of the things of God and who He is in Christ. So blessings on this Advent season as we've entered it.